on your way down here, I will be here waiting for you. I have a special party announcement.
Well, you make me feel. You really turn me on. You knock me off of my feet now, baby. My lonely days are gone.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
Breaking news tonight. Diddy, party, cocktail, cocaine, and horse trank. That's horse tranquilizer. Did he actually feed this to his guests? Horse tranquilizer. If it knocks out a horse, what does it do to a lady?
How many victims potentially do you think there could be?
Thousands.
Those who were never at these freak-off parties, what were they like?
The ritualistic behaviors, the drugging, putting girls in suitcases, dumping them in alleyways. It's horrifying. It's been happening in front of everyone's faces for decades. For decades.
For decades, Sean Combs, also known as Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Diddy, PD, Love, abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. To do so, Diddy relied on the employees, resources, and influence of the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled.
Office is determined to investigate and prosecute anyone who engages in sex trafficking, no matter how powerful or wealthy or famous you may be. No one should doubt our commitment on that.
Creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Diddy operated his business, headquartered at various times in Manhattan and Los Angeles, under a variety of United States-based corporate entities, including Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs Enterprises, and Combs Global, collectively, the Combs Business. Corporate entities in the Combs business included, among other things, record labels, a recording studio, an apparel line, an alcoholic spirits business, a marketing agency, and a television network and media company. At all times, Diddy engaged in a persistent and pervasive pattern of abuse toward women and other individuals. This abuse was, at times, verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual. As part of his pattern of abuse, Diddy manipulated women to participate in highly orchestrated performances of sexual activity with male commercial sex workers, at times, Diddy and others acting at his direction, made arrangements for women and commercial sex workers to fly to Diddy's location. Diddy ensured participation from the women by, among other things, obtaining and distributing narcotics to them, controlling their careers, leveraging his financial support and threatening to cut off the same, and using intimidation and violence. Physical abuse by Diddy was recurrent and widely known on numerous occasions from at least in or about 2009 and continuing for years. Diddy assaulted women by, among other things, striking, punching, dragging, throwing objects at, and kicking them. These assaults were, at times, witnessed by others and included one instance at a Los Angeles hotel in or about March 2016, which was captured on video and later publicly reported, where Diddy kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a woman as she was attempting to leave. When a member of the hotel security staff intervened, Diddy attempted to bribe the staff member to ensure silence, as he sits incarcerated in Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, awaiting trial after he got indicted for sex trafficking charges. The truth about his freak-off parties have finally gotten exposed. Sean Diddy Combs has been a mogul in the music industry for over 30 years. He's played a part in the careers of some of the most successful names in hip-hop. While music has been what the majority of the public recognize him for, things have been a little different behind.
Joining me now, Brian Claypool, a criminal defense attorney. So, Brian, what Matt was just talking about, these so-called freak-offs, these were no secret. So he'd been openly bragging about these wild parties. You know, there's like sex parties, and it looks like, you know, there were probably lots of other things going on there too. But he was bragging about this for, what, a couple of decades? Watch.
This is what you need to do. Women, beautiful women. We need alcohols. Right. Alcohols. Right. Not just one alcohol. Alcohols. Right. Just a blend. You need the ladies, you need the booze. Right. Gotta keep them there. Right. You need locks on the doors. This is sounding kind of dangerous now.
It seems as most of his peers know him as a strategic event planner who puts together some of the best parties in the music industry. Some of those parties were highly documented celebrity events like the all-white parties, while others were not so documented and illegal, for that matter. In the late 90s, Sean Diddy Combs started hosting these all-white parties. The all-white party was an industry party hosted by Diddy himself. There were 3 different criteria for anyone who wanted to attend. 1. Come with a good attitude, ready to have fun and let loose. 2. Have size to the circle of celebrities attending. 3. Show up in white clothing. The parties were a white dress code and decor scene. Event attended by all the A-list celebrities in the industry you could possibly think of. The events initially started getting hosted in the Hamptons before moving to other locations that Diddy picked. These parties were supposed to be a fun day/night of festivities, which it eventually was for all the high-profile celebrities who attended. And the intention behind the white dress code was a way to strip away everyone's image and put them all in the same color and on the same level as stated by Diddy himself. Diddy described these parties as breaking down racial barriers and generation barriers, as the attendees came from all walks of life, different ethnic backgrounds and racial backgrounds, but they were all still connected through the circle of elites they're rolling in. The first party took place over the Labor Day weekend, on September 7, 1998, in East Hampton, New York. Diddy reportedly invited 200 people to a barbecue at his New Hampton home. The guest list was fairly diverse, hip-hop and R&B artists taking up most of the space, along with some of the biggest actors. On top of that, a young Leonardo DiCaprio who had just finished recording Titanic at the time was one of the guests. Everyone who was a somebody in the entertainment business was invited to the all-white party. These events helped music mogul raise his profile in the industry, something he took great pride in. The parties boosted Diddy's public image and equipped him with enough connections to run these parties between 1998 and 2009, when the last one took place. The very much publicized all-white parties are, however, not to be confused with the so-called freak-offs. These after-hour activities were not so known by the public. It was a party after the party. Drugs and thousands baby oil are at the top of the headlines. In relation to these dark, sex, substance-infused get-togethers, hosted by Diddy, these sexual encounters are described as coercive and abusive by the prosecution, seeking legal action against Diddy, and are the heart of the trafficking case he's been indicted for. The 14-page indictment heavily focuses on how the defendant, Diddy Combs, abused, threatened, and coerced women and other people around him to fulfill his sexual desires. Diddy's freak-offs were allegedly fueled by a criminal enterprise who forced others into sex trafficking along with forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. With the help of his deep network of employees, resources, and influence he had built up throughout.
Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did.
These last few decades, as a music mogul and serial entrepreneur, Diddy put together what he called freak-offs, which were essentially sex marathons for days that were not consensual.
The last freak-off tape that just got sold on the dark net, which I know because I monitored, went for $500 million. It had multiple stars in it. Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, Chris Brown, Justin Bieber, Drake. It was a really interesting night in Calabasas, and he just sold that footage.
How come you think it doesn't get leaked to the public?
The dark net?
Yeah, like...
Because of the dark coin. Most people don't even know that the dark coin exists.
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but there, hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Breaking news tonight. Diddy, party, cocktail, cocaine, and horse train. That's horse tranquilizer. Did he actually feed this to his guests?